All right. Thank you for the introduction, Nicole. We are excited to be here and we appreciate the Lightworks relationship. I'm actually going to start the presentation off with a quick video on a case study that we've done that we feel will fit the theme today very well. So I'm going to start that video, and then after that, Andrew will take it away and go over some of the products that they talk about in this case study.
Hill Dickinson is a law firm, a full-service commercial firm based mainly in the United Kingdom, with offices in the north of England and in London, but with offices overseas in Hong Kong, Singapore, Monaco and Piraeus.
So the pandemic's been a real experience for us, because whilst the UK have been in lockdown, other continents haven't been. So the business has been running as usual. So we've really needed that solution where people can continue to work as one team.
Video collaboration has been fundamental to the transition into hybrid working. It's been very important for our people to keep face-to-face contact with clients. That's how they've been able to maintain relationships and in some cases build new relationships.
So as a business, we've got a large technology footprint to manage, and video conferencing is just one of the solutions that we look after. Historically, we had a solution that was hard to manage, hard to administer and hard to deploy. So when we moved to Microsoft Teams, Logitech was the obvious solution.
Hill Dickinson had three major challenges that they needed to overcome. One was the simplicity of the solution, repeatability globally, and also a single management platform to allow everything to be managed from the UK. They went to Microsoft, saw all the available meeting room solutions, and they chose Logitech because we provided all three with our service and support. The solutions in each room are appropriate for the size of that meeting room. So if we looked at the Meetup, the Rally and the Rally Plus being the appropriate size audio and video for the room, the tap is the one experienced.
It's had a massive impact on us. We've not got as much to administer. The solution runs itself, and the user support point of view, that element has gone away. Sync gives us the ability to see how devices are performing, if there's any health issues, and be proactive in the management of them rooms.
COVID compliancy is at the forefront of all the corporate real estate and facilities teams. The ability of the camera to count the bodies in the room and provide real-time information to IT support can really help with keeping people safe and feeling comfortable in the office.
People have become more accustomed to Teams and its functionality, so the room's really bolstered that. It's giving people the view of this room is more than just a room now. You know, it's a landline. I can invite people into these calls. I can host video meetings and even sometimes webinars from the rooms. So people have started to embrace the technology more.
I think in time you will see a reduction in business travel due to video collaboration, and obviously that has a cost implication. There's also social economic consequences, because the less that we travel enables us to be more carbon neutral. Logitech solution and Microsoft Teams has been fundamental to our people keeping in touch with each other and with clients. That's given them the technology to be happier in their work, and ultimately I believe it's made them more productive.
All right, so Andrew, if you want to take it over and
totally
talk about the products.
Yeah, so we talked that was a great little I'm hearing myself. Okay, we're good. That was a great little video kind of showing the value of what Logitech brings to the table, and really the future of meetings. The future of meetings is not set in stone yet. And over the last few years, it's proven that, and you know, even 2 months ago, I thought we'd be farther back into the office, and we were, and now many places are returning back to during COVID scenarios. Not everyone, some people are still staying at the office. So we need to be able to be flexible as people move to and from the office, and have tools that will match whatever they need where in whatever scenario they need to work in. So our classic small, medium and sized rooms still apply, but it also means we need to have high quality personal devices, which I'm not going to speak about today, but just be aware, we have bundled devices of personal headsets, wireless headsets, wired headsets, and high quality webcams that we can bundle and make sure that you can do that. And in the video, it talked about management. We can manage all those through our cloud platforms. And you know, I always think about this prior to COVID, it probably wasn't a big deal for an IT guy to even know whether some of these things, you know, were on or if they were up to the right firmware, especially when we're talking about personal devices. It became mission critical to look and understand whether your headset's working, whether it's a video conferencing device is on, and whether all that. So we have multiple platforms. We have our Tune software as well as our Sync platform that we can manage the entire platform and give eyes into what's going on into these mission critical devices. But let's stay in the video conferencing world really for the rest of what we're going to talk about. Logitech has increased its portfolio line, giving you more options in all the different sizes of rooms than even what was going on in the video. So the video talked about how Logitech has built devices for every room size. And then we put at the center of it this touch control, which we call tap. That's a very key perspective, as all these pieces need to be part of the room. And this tap touch control has become the center of the room when I walk in the room. But about a week ago, we just announced a new offering to tap. A brother or a cousin, I guess, is a better way to put it. And it's called the Tap IP. Using similar technology and touchscreen capabilities, we now have the ability to use Microsoft Teams panel and Zoom scheduling and others, and actually control the room outside the room. This is for scheduling, seeing if it's booked. I can look down a hall and say, okay, this room looks green, walk up to it. And instead of having to go back to my desk and pulling up Outlook and scheduling that room resource, I can do it right there on tap, the tap scheduler, walk in the room and be able to start my meeting easily with the control. So having that simple, easy to control room is king of it. Once I'm in the room, one thing I've always said is the less I have to touch and manipulate the video conferencing system, and really the less I notice that, the better the conferencing system is. And that's what RightSense is. Gives us these technologies that make it make it so we do not have to spend a lot of time messing with Zooms and trying to get the light correct and make sure the sound's up to the right volume and that they can hear me. All these things make the experience poor if I have to continually mess with them. So we put automatic functions in there. First one is auto framing. Tell a quick story. When I was a young video conferencing engineer, I had a whole group of of conference rooms that I managed. I had a really high visibility one that they were constantly complaining about the audio. So I sneaked into the back in the meeting one day to see if I could figure out what's going on with the audio. I couldn't. The audio still took me a few more weeks to figure out. But what I noticed is that everyone in the room had gathered to one corner because whoever had the meeting in the previous call had zoomed it into that corner, and no one wanted to pick up the remote control to zoom it back and reset that call. So they just slid their chairs into the video. Well, we don't have to do that with auto framing. It's going to auto frame. It's going to find all the individual people in the room, and it's going to frame everything in nicely. We have AI-based sound optimization, which means you can be heard, and we reduce the background noise. It can tell the difference between someone speaking and background noise, and either completely cut it out or reduce it significantly. And then, just like in the video talked about people counting. People counting is in all our whole solution, and it's available through our management platform called Sync. You can also access it through Teams Admin Center, but this gives companies the ability to to not only know how their rooms are being used, how many people are using them, and if they're being used, but understand, especially in this day of maybe phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, maybe you have a 20-person room, but in phase 2 you're only allowed 50% capacity. You can actually see if that's being complied with, and you can set alerts within our management platform to let you know that it's regularly being gone. People are going over that, so you can actually drive towards compliance. So that's very important. One of the key centers, probably the workhorse of our entire line, is called the Rallybar. The Rallybar is our newest version of video conferencing, and it has a baby brother called the Rallybar Mini. They're really, the only difference between them is one is designed for large rooms, one is designed for small rooms. The camera in the Rallybar is a 4K camera that can zoom in, for rooms up to 25 feet in a classic boardroom style. And the Rallybar Mini is really designed for small huddle rooms, designed for maybe 12 foot and under kind of scenarios. So we have a full range of products, not to mention our Meetup, which is the highest selling product in Logitech's history. It's a very powerful product. Talked about all these. Now, the great thing is they can all work in multiple modes. We're a classic, Logitech classically is a USB peripheral company. So each one of these devices, you can just walk in and plug into your, to a PC, and it'll work just like a classic USB device. You're gonna get the camera available, you're gonna get the speakers available and mics available. But when it comes to the Rallybar and Rallybar Mini, we've also added the ability to actually be the Microsoft Teams room without adding a PC to it. And that's important because we can run it right on the system. So the Rallybar can be a Microsoft Teams room by itself without adding any kind of compute device to do it. And so as we're doing Microsoft Teams rooms and dedicated Zoom rooms and anything else that we're dedicating to one of these ecosystems, we can completely fall into line with that ecosystem and that ease of use. But when we do that, a lot of customers go, I really like the Microsoft Teams or the Zoom, whatever it is. I really like their experience that they've told me about. I really would like to go dedicated Zoom rooms. It's going to make it simpler on my end users. Except I get about 10 to 15% of my calls from outside my organization. And that could be anything else. And if I'm a Microsoft Teams shop, it could be a Zoom, it could be WebEx, it could be GoToMeeting, it could be Ring Central, it could be any of these others, right? How do I do that? And so Logitech built what's called Switch. Switch is simply this little cable, this purple Y cable. It's got a USB-C port connector on one side, a USB-A connector on the other, giving you both options. And then what you do is I have a dedicated room that's dedicated to one thing. In this case, it's Teams. And I want to do something else. So I bring my laptop into that room. I set my laptop down. I plug in the switch. Once I connect it, I commandeer the technology in the room, or I like the word hijack. I hijack the technology in the room. My screen goes up on the screen here. I'm now controlling that with my laptop. The speakers, mics, cameras are all being used off my laptop. I can do any call that laptop can do now. Heck, I could do a Facebook Messenger call. Not that I'm saying you should, but you can do anything that laptop will do. And once I disconnect switch, it goes back to the way the room, way it always has been. And all I've done is a single cable to do that. I don't have to fumble around for adapters to get my HDMI cable to work, or if the USB cable I had in there was USB-C, I don't have to go looking for that. It's all there in one shot, and it makes it very simple. So it rounds out our whole solution from the budgetary rooms, from a Meetup, all the way to through Rallybar and our Rallybar Mini, even into custom rooms with our Rally Plus solution. It's a full range solution and it can be managed through sync as well. So that's what we have. Brady, do you have anything more to add?
No, do you want to touch on what all platforms we work with?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I thought I did. We actually have
There was a question in the chat.
oh, yeah, totally. This is a good time for questions. So we in the sync world, it's literally anything. So I'm sorry, when the switch world, we can do anything that laptop would do. But on the Rallybar itself, we can do Teams natively on the bar itself, Teams, Zoom, GoToMeeting, Hex IP, Ring Central. So those are all available right on the bar. Any other questions, you guys? Anything at all? I went through a lot.
Yes.
There was a.
We
go
do
ahead.
have a question about availability. What's your availability like?
So right now we're a little constrained with our bundles because some of our bundles ship with different computers. So depending on the computer availability, it kind of depends on that really. But we do expect to get back to better stocking levels in the next couple weeks here.
But here's a good point to that, is the Rallybar does not need to be paired with a PC. So if you are needing something right now, you can do the Android. It's using an Android operating system and it's running the Microsoft Android version of Teams and the Zoom Android version of Zoom. Those are available through Logitech now, and you can get taps and Rallybars. I'd say probably like a week or so delayed is probably correct, Brady. So as opposed to the mini PCs, which might be 8 to 10 weeks, depending on the week, and it changes week to week. We have Logitech. The Logitech products are available now. So if you don't need a mini PC, you can get them right away.
Okay, we also had a question about Cortana and touchless voice commands. Do you know anything about that, Andrew?
So the MTR for Android does not currently support Cortana. It is supposedly on Microsoft's roadmap. This is one of those things that we build the hardware in this case, and then Microsoft is building the software. And the Windows-based version of Microsoft Teams Room and the Android-based version are on a slightly different development path. So there is some features in the Android appliances that are not in the Windows-based appliances. Cortana is one of those.
Okay. And then another question is, when running Teams rooms, do the Rallybars support bring your own device?
So yeah, that's what Switch is. Yep. So Switch is that's exactly what I described with Switch. The Rallybar will do a version of that without Switch. It's dual cable, so it has a USB cable on it. If I'm set it up as a Microsoft Teams room, I can plug into that USB port and I can take it over with my laptop, but I will also need to plug in an HDMI cable to then take over the screen as well. That's granted that I have a USB-A port available on my laptop, and I have an HDMI port available. If not, I'm going to have to convert it to either USB-C or whatever DVI or whatever I have on my laptop. That's why the Switch is so nice. It's just one cable. You don't have to worry about HDMI. You plug it in, and it has both USB-C and USB-A. So I just plug it in, and it goes.
Okay, a couple more here. Is the new tap you mentioned a different product, or are current orders shipping with that? Can old units be upgraded?
The new scheduler is a new product, and it is a different product. That's why it's cousin to it. So the tap scheduler. We do have a new version of tap that is called the tap IP, and that is also a different product. It's got a different housing, different connections. So you would have to buy a new, like if you have an older version of tap, you would buy a new product for that. Same thing with tap scheduler. So yes, I guess the question is, would I have to buy something new? Yes, because they're not the exact same.
Okay. With variable classroom arrangements, what type of flexible microphone do you suggest? Probably ceiling mounted.
So that really depends on the room, but yes, if in general, a training room or an education room are not going to have set tables. They're going to move those around. Then you're going to put them in the ceiling. There's obviously some exceptions, and there's some scenarios where we would go a different direction. But yeah, it'd go ceiling microphones in most cases. Yeah.
Okay. And then we have another one. Will the Switch ever start to ship with Cat5 extender? The need to consider how long of a USB cable if problematic.
I agree with it, and I don't know the answer to that. Us as SEs have requested that as well, and it's above my head. I've heard of nothing on the short-term roadmap to say we are going to do that.
Okay. How would the Switch work if you have dual displays?
One of the displays would not. The main display was what it would put the Switch up onto.
Okay, and someone's looking for information on the Logitech Scribe or when that will ship. So that is shipping now, and I'm happy to send information if somebody can get them some information on that. You want me to send that to you?
Do we have a minute? I think we might have a minute. I can quickly show some slides on Scribe, just so
Nicole,
you can see.
Yeah, sure.
How are we?
Minutes.
How are we on time?
You have five, including the giveaway, and we have 2 things to give away. So let's get as much as you can done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, let me just do that. I'll just share one slide and just so you kind of get an idea of what it's going to do. I'm not even going to do it in the pretty way. I'm just going to do it like this. So the Scribe is essentially this camera. It sits above a whiteboard. It is not the whiteboard itself. It sits above the whiteboard. It connects via a USB cable, a long USB cable, to a PC, and currently the Rallybar does not work to add extra cameras for either Zoom or Teams. So the Scribe is not a Rallybar solution. However, that will change in next quarter. But for now, the Scribe is a PC-based solution. It's going to connect via USB. And what it does is you'll see she's writing over here, and over here you see what she's writing, but you don't see her arm in the way. So it cuts out the person. You can also make the person kind of ghosted, so you can still see that they're writing, see that their arm is up there, but they're just a ghost. Or you can just have them completely invisible. So that is, and it picks it up and cleans it up. It even makes my drawings look a little bit better. So anyway, so that's Scribe.
Cool. And we have one more question. Can you purchase the Logitech tabletop room controller separately? Is it hard to program? I believe we can now sell that separately, right?
We can sell it separately. Let me tell you, don't do it. Because unless you don't do it unless you have a certified Teams PC or something that you're going to run with it. And that is if you have, let's say you go to Lenovo or Dell and they sell you a Microsoft Teams Room PC, okay, that's fine. Plug the tap in. That's just fine. The tap is essentially a USB peripheral screen. It's a USB-based screen that is designed specifically for control. And so essentially what you would be buying if you bought it just for a normal PC, not a Teams PC, you'd be buying a very expensive, very small screen. And that's all it would work like.
Perfect. He just followed up and said he's going to purchase it with Teams configured Nook.
Perfect. That's exactly the right answer.
All right, Nicole, we'll hand it off back to you.